Ah, shit. Yeah. So, someone asked in the comments in the previous videos, how do I set up the controller? I don't know, technically speaking, he wanted to know how I set up the controller to use with the gyro, or in just, in a regular sense, how do you set up your controller, regardless of the gyro. So I'm gonna share this on the video, and I hope it is informative, I suppose. Also, in the link in the description, there was this one video that I decided to do this current setup. I actually watched that videos in the description, which actually showcases that you need to use the, well, I'm gonna show this later in this video, but the dynamic aim acceleration, I think, is actually the better choice to play on the controller, which gives you, at least what he claims is that, which gives you the similar experience playing on mouse and keyboard. Well, in this case, it's more like, mouse, because, it's more for the aiming. I mean, no, it's only for the aiming, but yeah. So I don't know if people are mainly using the controller are on Steam or other platforms and consoles, but this is what I do, and as you can see, this is a Steam page. Steam page? No, it's a Steam library. And I'm just gonna use the regular ass Nintendo Switch controller, not to confuse with the Nintendo Switch 2 controller, which is this one. I bought it because I just wanted to play Splatoon Raiders and nothing else. And it was fine. Man, I really wish that Steam will support the new controller, the Switch 2 controller, because the major difference, I don't think isn't like a much of a difference here, but I think it's smaller and it's like more comfy to carry around, I think. But the major difference here is that it has a back back button. It's not a pedal, it's a button on the grips. You can't see here, but like there's like two additional buttons on the grips. Yeah. Anyway, so the regular Switch controller is what I'm using here, and it's fully supported by Steam, so you can just simply use the default Steam's controllers configuration and whatnot. And you might need to change the layouts of the bottom because, as you may see here, I don't know if you can actually see it, but X, Y, and A, B are swapped because I'm using this, or should I say, I purchased a Japanese version of the controller layer, I think, and yeah, that is cumbersome, especially for the X and Y, because I do believe X and Y actually works better with the in-game DarkTide's in-game settings layout. So I swapped those here. As you can see, X is now Y and Y equals to X. I didn't change the AB because I think the in-game layer is better. So whenever the game asks me to press A, I actually have to press B. But I kind of got used to it because most of the games out there I play non-Japanese games, and therefore the layouts are like jumbled up like that. And for at least for A and B, I'm fine, but X and Y is real confusing, so I just change it. And as for the gyro, the settings are well, sorry for your or inconvenience because I highly doubt that any Japanese people are watching my videos. But as you can see here, or should I say, or should I say, I explain what is said here. This is the gyro setting on the Steam controller layouts. And the top right here is the one I actually changed, or should I say I tweaked around in the during my playtime. And I chose ended up the use as a joystick option. I think this is one is the best. Gyro mouse is like kind of cumbersome, and joystick it literally works as your right joystick here. So I think this is the best way to do so. And it doesn't interfere so far in my experience with other inputs in the game, and this works fine for me. But again, this really depends on how you prefer, so you really should test it out all the options here if you want to use the gyro. Yeah. So let's just go back. And other than that, I haven't config any settings here. I only do like gyro calibration here and there if I think the gyro was a bit wonky. And also I did, sorry, let me rephrase it. I actually did change one thing, which is the controller sticks dead zones and whatnot, but that's about it. I haven't changed anything. Oh, besides the layout and dead zone on the stick. And input type of the gyro. Yeah. Also, in terms of gyro, you can actually change what is gonna trigger the gyro effect on the controller, because I can totally see someone actually uses the right stick for aiming the most of the time, but sometimes he wants to use a gyro. So maybe he can actually map this gyro button setting to maybe let's just say like this ZR button, which is I think at the default in-game DarkTide setting, it's going to be the ADS button here, aiming button. So you can do something like whenever you're ADSing, pressing this button, the gyro works. But other times, if you're not pressing your finger on the trigger, the gyro never works, so you have to use your stick aiming. Maybe someone prefer that. But for me, I am always on no matter what. So that's why my video footage always has that nauseating, jittering like effect. I'm trying my best to avoid being jittery for the most time, but yeah, it's what it is, and I kind of sort of accepted that. Maybe there is like a more optimal way to do this. Maybe there is, like you can see here, where is it? So this is I think it's a gyro. Like I said, I haven't worked around with these other things here as the settings, so I'm not sure what it is, but I do believe this is for the gyro's dead zone. And I think by adding this up a bit, because right now it's completely zero, I think adding this a bit up will limit the jittering effect, I think. But again, I don't want anything to like interfere with my own current muscle memory uh optimize, well, not optimized, but you get what I mean. The current setup that I'm used to, so I don't want to change it right now. So yeah. And these are the scales of the gyros. So yeah, like please configure in your suitable ways and whatnot. And also there's like the haptics here. And I do hear some people absolutely do not like haptics because it's like distracting and it's like holding a tiny vibrator in your hand and it's gonna be awkward. For me, technically speaking, I kind of like the haptics, so I just let it be there as a default setting. I haven't changed anything. No. But yeah, that's what it is. And that is overall the Steam controller settings upside of things. So let's just move on to the in-game controller settings here. Let's see where it is. Yeah, the options and controller. As you can see, I use the default here. And let me just say, give praise to the developers. I think well, it's really ass that you cannot remap your uh controller or bottom mappings in game. It sucks, but at least for the Steam users, you can remap it, right? But I mean, condolences for all the console players out there. It sucks. I do really feel that. But the overall feel of the controller in this game and how the default mapping it is, I think it works fine for the most part. I have some complaints, but but that's beside the point of this video, and I'm just gonna move on to that. So I use default. Ah, I really shouldn't use my mouse and controller at the same time. It's gonna be awkward. So the vibration, like I said before, I'm letting it stay there as a default, and I'm pretty sure I haven't changed anything for the in terms of sensitivities and whatnot, except for the dead zone, I think. But then again, I think the dead zone is currently um overwrapped by the Steam config of a size, so I don't think it add the ones that you see on the screen right now, the in-game DarkTide control setting, it doesn't matter, I think, but still. Let me just clarify that. So the vibration I just stays on because I don't care. I kind of like the immersive vibration because I think, oh, so yeah, the another reason why I prefer, well, there's two reasons I prefer controller over the mouse and keyboard. One, I can't play mouse and keyboard in terms of games. Obviously, I can play like RPGs and RTS and whatnot like that. Obviously, it makes more sense to that because it's more like managing and things and not about action. But when it comes to action games, I just simply crave for controller usage because I haven't got this PC right now. This is literally my first gaming PC and a first. Yes, yeah. This is literally the first gaming PC, and I never had a PC before in terms for the use for the gaming. And that is literally the time when DarkTide launched, I think. So it was like 3, 4 years ago. Yeah. And before that, I never had any experience playing games on mouse and keyboard. And I also, somewhat of a low tier software engineer dude. So it really feels like a work, and I don't like that. And yeah, like I said before, the haptics in the game are actually kind of getting better and better like recently. And also, I think the Nintendo Switch controller has a really good vibration haptics embedded it, so it really gets you the really nice immersive uh, s- feel to it. Also, it really helps that uh, and most of the FPS games use the triggers, and it really gives you the feel of you're squeezing the trigger of your gun. It doesn't make any sense when, in terms of, like Dark Type, because there are so many melee options here. And you also use the triggers for attacking using the melee weapons. And, it doesn't make any sense that you're squeezing the trigger, but still, I like the immersiveness. Again, so back to the settings, look and aim. These are the ones that I tweaked a bit few here. Aim assist off always. I never enjoyed aim assist because like why would you want that? Like I have nothing against people use aim assist, especially in a PvE game because who the fuck cares, right? If it's a competitive thing, then yeah, sure. I could totally see some people will claim it's unfair, and it's kind of is, but also it's not too much because mouse aiming is more precise, I suppose. But yeah, like in this case, I don't care, but personally, I just don't like it, so I make it off. Invert axis acceleration that are on because I think the acceleration feels pretty nice. And this is the part that I mentioned that the video link in the description actually told me to do so. So this response curve type, melee and rage, I forgot what it was the default setting for this one, but I don't think but I'm pretty sure both two were not dynamic. Maybe one was dynamic and one was the wait. What was the other one? I think it was linear or maybe even exponential. I don't know. But yeah, the dude told me to do dynamic and it was a godsend. Before that I was already using gyro, but it did not have that necessary acceleration and the snappiness, like the flexibility of the aiming and whatnot. So it felt really sluggish. But with this thing, I can actually, quickly aim and quickly manage to look around and whatnot. Yeah, so I I also highly recommend to do this, but it's all you. So maybe you will stay with the default response curve type and tweak with the sensitivities and whatnot. Maybe you will do that. But for me, the default settings for the sensitivity was completely fine, and especially after switching to the dynamic response curve type. Yeah. So, response curve strength, I don't think I ever changed these. And I think I changed the dead zone threshold a bit higher because, Switch controller address a lot, ha ha ha. So, yeah. And yeah, that's about it. And also, another thing is that since I'm a PC user, I use mods, and these are the mods that I'm using. And I think, I'm not really sure, but I think when you use controller on PC, or should I say just controller, to play DarkTide, I think the weapon swapping is kind of jank. So it somewhat does not guarantee the weapon swap, which is weird because the queue is there, but the game kind of ignores it unless you um unless you spam the weapon swap button multiple times, and it was a real detriment to my gaming because sometimes because at the moment, which was before the mod, and I was frustrating and like frantically pressing the weapon swap button because I knew sometimes it won't work just by pressing once. And what would happen is that, sometimes it works as I intended, but most of the time it just ends up me being like swapping my weapon like a dumbass in the middle of the combat, and I die because I was using a ranged weapon while I really wanted to do was to whip out my melee and block, you know. So this guarantee weapon swap is, I think it's a must if you want to play DarkTide uh, on the controller. Yeah. Yeah, that's about it, I think, when it comes to, playing DarkTide on the controller. Thingamajig here. Other mods are has nothing to do with the gameplay, honestly. Oh, except for the New Spirit Mercy, I think. Yeah, New Spirit Mercy is really good if you're planning to use Skitari. But yeah, look for other players like mod guys for that one. And I guess I kind of demonstrate like how I actually play around with the gyro because it's really explanatory when it comes to playing a controller, and I think there is like a plenty of guides how people play DarkTide on a controller. But I don't think there's much in terms of like how I use both of sticks and gyro as well. So yeah. Um. Well, technically speaking, I don't have an actual manual or the philosophy here, but sorry, that was a weird phrasing. I should have said it. That I don't have an exact rule of when to use gyro and when to use the stick. But yeah, basically, when I'm in active combat, because I have to press these buttons here, which is for the jumping and dodging and crouching, reloading, and interacting button. Well, I don't use interact button, obviously in the active combat, but because I have to press these buttons, I kind of sort of have to put my finger away from the stick here. So it's ideally this, so you can use your stick, but you really have to use the dodge and crouch sliding and whatnot here, and weapon swap. So yeah, your thumb is almost always going to be here in active combat. So what's going to happen is that I'm just simply gonna not I just quit using my stick during my active combat. I'm not using my stick, I'm not using my stick, I'm not using my stick, I'm just using the gyro. Yeah, but yeah, you guys can see. Let's just try this thing out. It's gonna be really awkward. Yeah, I really should have installed I don't know it's a mod, but like, that input indicator on the screen. But yeah, so this is the camera stick. Right now it's working because I'm using actively. But right now I'm off. The stick is off, completely off, and that was a jump. Oh, that's. Now I'm not using it. I'm just aiming with the gyro 100%. It's still choppy. Do excuse me, I have a reading because I do not play with this awkward stance here. This doesn't necessarily mean that you always shouldn't use that stick because it is a personal preference and a muscle memory. But yeah. So when I use the stick is when I want to, well, I'm fighting here, maybe those enemies are already dead, and I want to look back. Or, around. Which is technically speaking, I use a combination of, both gyro control and the stick, but yeah, like that. And same goes for the range combat as well. See, I'm not using any stick. Oh, that's a choppy meaning. Yeah, because of that, you might want to tweak your gyro settings if you want to, because, you know, as you can see, well, it's both a combination of my choppy aiming. That's so choppy. Embarrassing. But yeah. Oh, yeah. At the end, I kind of use it because I was not in the combat, so, you know, my farm was free from the bottom person. So yeah, that's basically what it is. And also, the one that I mentioned, the mod, the guaranteed weapon swap, is kind of necessary, especially you want to do some, you know, bullshit things, like especially the movement trick and whatnot. Because in this game, as you may already know, you know, just simply sprinting is sometimes not good enough, and you want to use something like this. You know, incorporate sprint and... Let me pull up the mic a bit closer. So yeah, incorporate sprint and melee attack and the sliding, so you have an efficient stamina usage and both, you know, safety from range attacks and extra mobility. So yeah, can be done just by using your melee attack, but sometimes you kind of want to swap in between those things, like like this. Again, I'm real not good at this, but yeah. Yeah, even on controller, you can do this with this mod. It's awesome, actually. I fucked it up. Yeah. Especially it's hard with the ankle. Oh yeah, that reminds me another thing about the controller. So yeah, if you want to like incorporate many things and tricks and exploits in the DarkTide, you definitely want to have the weapon swap, guaranteed weapon swap mod. Yeah, go to Nexus mod and download it and whatnot. And another thing, yes, another thing. So about the Fat Shark's default in-game control setting, I am fine with it. Also, there are like you know, many complaints I also have, which are, you know, many people complain is the dodge and the jump are on the same button here. So a lot of times, if you have seen my play footage videos, you can actively see I'm jumping like a dumbass when I should be dodging. So yeah, is because of that. And I get it, you can map it and whatnot, but it's kind of annoying to do so, and yeah. But yeah, if you have a... So another thing about the controller is that I'm using like I said, a Nintendo Switch default controller, but you can obviously use third-party controllers and many other controllers like that, because this is Steam, it doesn't care. What you can do there is you can actually buy for more expensive, more fancier controllers that has a back button or like extra trigger buttons, or in the back on the pedal. Maybe sometimes it has 2 of these, so like it has additional 4 or even 6 if you have like additional pair of trigger buttons and whatnot. So if that happens, then yeah, you really should like map some other things, such as, you know, stick press button. I think I don't personally mind sprinting, because sprinting only works when you're actually looking forward and, you know, pressing down the stick, the movement stick forward, the left joystick, and pressing down is not much of a hustle, because you're not precisely, you know, aiming down, or should I say, you know, moving around the stick, because you're just simply, you know, pushing towards the how can I say it, to the north side of the controller. Is that what it is? Is that what the analogy is? I don't know. But yeah, that part is fine. But what I'm absolutely not fine is that special attacks. Certain weapons have special attacks that can be activated. Why did I say that? Because every single weapon has a special attack, whether it is an attack or a, you know, like a flashlight utility. But yeah, in order to activate that on the controller, you have to press the right stick, which in this case is a combat knife, so it's a punch. Pew pew. It's fine. Yeah, I can activate it. It's the problem is it's a right thumbstick, so it's kind of sort of, you know, interferes with my aiming, because even though like I said, in the combat scenario, I am mostly using, should I say, I almost 100% use gyro aiming during combat. It's the right stick still works to control your aim, so it kind of interferes with your aim, and it's really annoying. But you know, I'm kind of getting used to it because of the Mechanicus Power Sword and many other weapons that I was actually actively avoiding because of that issue. So I think it can be done, but it's kind of annoying. So in a perfect world, I would definitely remap the weapon special at least. Oh, and also the grenade button. I am a psycho right now, so I cannot demonstrate that. But let me just change operative here. The one that uses and also has the problem of this the most, Zealot. I'm not saying Zealot is a bad class by any means. I'm just saying whenever you're playing on controller, you might encounter a similar problem as I do here. Let's just wait it to load here. Will you answer? Yeah, I'm a coward. Due to demand sacrifice? I mean, everything demands sacrifice because everything has a cost. Nothing is freely earned in this world. Not even the gaming world, not even. But anyway. Let's get into Meat Grinder. So, the part that I was talking about is the fact that you have to use the crosshair button, cross-shape controller. I don't know what they're called for certain things, as you can see. Oh wait, no, you cannot see because of my dumbass face cam here. You know what? Let me just move that around if I can. I can. Wait. How do I do that? How do I actively change the view of this thing on the OBS? Shit. Nah, I'm too lazy to care. Sorry. But yeah, your Sims, it's a up button. Your deployables, it's the left button. And your grenades, blitz, is the down button. And if you wonder what is going to be the right button, it's a weapon inspection button. Well, in this case, I'm inspecting a grenade. But yeah. Also, they add that zoom out, so you can actually see your character in game from third person. Cool, but also Fat Shark, I kind of wanted to, retain the weapon inspection animation because that's gonna be more hilarious to look around, especially with the, like the sword here, breastplate. You can actually stroke the sword. Yeah, that's nice. Firm and thick sword there. And it will be hilarious to look at on the third person, but as you can see, you're no longer in a weapon inspection animation. So yeah, please fix it, Fat Shark. So anyway, so with the usual grenades here, it doesn't matter because you just only need to slightly, put your finger away from the left stick button, which is the movement. So it's really more detrimental than, putting off your finger from the right stick aiming stick. But it can be done. You just only need to do a fraction of a second and you can start moving again, you know. But yeah, it's kind of annoying, but it's not a big deal for me. The real problem here is that for this is Sunstorm Grenade, you can always like aim by pressing the trigger buttons here. So you have like an underthrow and underthrow and the overhead throw, yeah, respectively, and those are fine, but let's just go back to let's just go to this skill tree, swap to, let's just say for the Blaze of Faith, which is, yeah, many people say it's arguably the best blitz, and yeah, I totally agree with that. I really wish I was also able to use it, but this is a thing. Some grenades in this game are instant use. What were the things? So obviously the Blaze of Faith on the Zealot and the Blinder grenade on the Scum. Other things are, I think those two were the only one, wasn't it? Yeah, those two are the only ones that are instant use. So for those two grenades, I think you're gonna encounter a similar situation for me. So to demonstrate, it's like this. Yeah, right now I can, aim because he's standing right there. Just only 3 meters, so anyone can hit that thing. But the problem resides when you actually want to hit things that are a bit farther than that, like 10 meters and stuff. Yeah. Oh, that was terrible. So yeah, you can't even move during doing that, and you also have to press the button. So the thing is, when you press the button while using a gyro, it kind of jitters, right? Like I said before, maybe you can actually mitigate this by having a threshold of your gyro inputs, or just completely completely disable gyro unless you're pressing a certain button and whatnot. And you can do that, by the way. You can do that. But if you are playing like me and having a gyro active at 100% of the time, then aiming your grenades becomes like more impossible. Like, well, I guess I can use the ADS thing too, but it's still not good. And also, the worst part is that you cannot use during moving around because I have to put my thumb away from the stick. And yeah, that was a lucky shot. Huh. Wasn't expecting that. Give me back my blade. Thank you. But yeah, I guess it's still a skill issue, obviously. So I really just need to practice a lot. But yeah, that's another dynamic here. You cannot use grenades while you're moving around, which is honestly I think is a good enough compromise for the gaming experience. I think, but it's not that appreciated. So yeah, this might gonna be the reason you do not want to use gyros, or you might want to consider purchasing a controller that has additional buttons. I love Level 3. It's so good. Even though I do absolutely not like playing with Zelda. It's just too hard. And also, anyone who says Zelda is not good is like insane. It's literally the only character that can cheat death. And imagine if a good player can cheat death. Like, come on, that's like OP as fuck. So yeah. Yeah, so that's about it. That rounds up all the things that I know and complain and kind of work around playing DarkTide as controller with the gyro control. And always the gyro effect is already on. So I hope this was informative and somewhat helpful for use. But yeah, like I said before, check other people's controller guys as well. I don't think there are like any. I think it's literally me talks about gyro control aiming on the when it comes to DarkTide and when it comes to YouTube. But maybe you can find something on the Reddit or not. I really haven't done any research on this matter. I'm just talking about my own experience and just like that. So that's about it. Let me just, yeah. Bye.